Welcome, priestesses, to this guide to your oracle, opening, activating, awakening your inner oracle. Now, it is the priestess path is the path of cultivating your oracle. It is the path of allowing your energetic system to clear of cultural trance and energetic bullshit so that your channel becomes open and we become channels for the earth and sky, for Mother Earth, Father Sky, the energetic flow of spirit through our own portal. We visualize it often as the chakra system itself. But when there's blockages and things are caught up on that chakra system, our capacity to be accurate in our intuition and guided through discernment in our own life decisions and on our path becomes more challenging. It's like a river stream with a log jam, a log caught in a rock, and all this junk is just gathering up. So the process of the priestess path is absolutely a process of clearing and cleansing. It is a process of releasing cultural trance, releasing excess baggage that is imprints from family, from culture, from media, and coming into what is actually my blueprint as a human on this earth. What is my purpose for being here? Why did the goddess choose me? And that is, again, always that our purpose is always a vibration. It is never an action, right? And yet, our purpose, our vibrational gift moves through our actions. It moves through our words. It even moves through our embodiment. We are embodying our purpose. That is the path of the priestess. When we are in this place of channeling, our oracle is open. And first important point here is that every woman is an oracle. Every woman is an oracle. One more time, magic 3. Every woman is an oracle. So long as she is connected to her organic, innate flow. The soul of woman is very deeply connected to our womb. Our womb flow is where life is created. And this is why. So steps to cultivate your oracle. Big picture, we're going to go big picture, and then we're going to go, how do you show up for your another as an oracle? So first step is get connected to your moon cycle. Get connected to your moon cycle. Take your womb cave. Drop in, create space. Have a daily practice of being out in nature, a daily practice of being with your altar, a daily practice of breath work, not to mention a daily practice of being with your oracle cards or your tarot, a daily practice of looking inward. Now, I started to cultivate my intuition unknowingly. We all are always cultivating unknowingly. Before we're consciously called to the priestess path is always with us because we were born into it. And every time I'm in a walk, now I consciously do it and advocate it as a practice for cultivating your inner oracle. Is you're on a walk, let go, drop into womb vision, let go of your eagle eye agenda, your Apple Watch counting your steps, and let yourself be carried. Do I want to go this way or this way? Oh, my body says this way. You go. You don't second guess it. Oh, it's off the trip. Go. This is how we learn to trust our inner guidance. And that process is, actually along this line of every woman is an oracle. Think about the oracles of Delphi. So when we talk about the Oracle of Delphi, that is the patriarchal story of there's one woman who's the oracle, and all the kings and queens from all the lands come to consult this highest oracle of the land in Europe. The origin of the Oracle of Delphi is the women of Greece who were in the caves during their moon cycle. So during that time of the blood, we are extremely sensitive to receiving information. Our oracle is extremely open during the blood and right before the blood. So the less we can waste that time, the better. The more we can use that time for rest and inner reflection to receive guidance, to receive the communion, the ecstatic bliss of communion with spirit. And ideally, the less mediated that is by pharmaceuticals, the more connected we will be with our oracle. Now, all of our priestess practices that you can see on this channel that are part of Embodied Priestess School, they are all means of cultivating our oracle. They are means of clearing our field. They are means of tapping into intuition, of trusting intuition, because even more than it's about, receiving the intuition, like hearing the intuition, it's like, do you follow your intuition? And so many of us are experiencing regular stream of inner guidance without even knowing it, because we're actually overriding based on things we've heard or what we think we should be eating or what we think we should be doing, because of deep cultural programming. So there is a deprogramming that has to happen in this process of unveiling the inner oracle as priestess. Now we're into part 2. I know that was just a dip in the pond, like a toe in the pond. But I know that you as priestesses are in that process of clearing your field and opening to the value of your intuition, listening, cultivating awareness, and acting upon your intuition. Because the more we do that, the more we're rewarded with a clear inner voice. That's how it works. It doesn't just drop in all of a sudden and then we're just like, oh. We've got to pay attention. And when we do, we're rewarded with like that next breadcrumb on our trail, like that next synchronicity, that next dream, that next stranger that comes and speaks the right thing, calls us deeper on our priestess path. Now, part 2, in terms of cultivating the capacity to serve as oracle for others. So obviously there's whole strains of training around this that involve psychic knowledge and, cultivating even up to a professional level, one's psychic knowledge. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about space holding for another to receive from their own intuition. So a huge part of our role as oracle in culture, so whether or not anyone ever knows you're a priestess, right? Like you don't have to, I'm a priestess. I've got my priestess tag on. It's like whether or not anyone ever knows that you are in this process of cultivating the feminine arts and diving deep into your spiritual practice rooted in your feminine anatomy and your feminine truth and strength, and in this unbroken lineage of priestess wisdom and goddess worship and worship of the land since the beginning of the time on every continent. You don't have to go around like advertising that. You do, like, cool. I mean, obviously I do. I mean, not actually people in my life, I don't. But in my courses and here, yes. But what we're cultivating the capacity to, the healing that we bring as oracle to the people around us doesn't have to do with telling them about themselves. So let's just be really clear about that. You're going to do, whether it is like you're actually going to do, so this is for, this video is being created for Embodied Priestess School as just an invitation into the project of just doing an oracle reading for another. So whether or not you're in Embodied Priestess School, like, yes, that's the invitation. And first and foremost, the thing about being an oracle is that we're not there to tell other people what to do. And if you find that you are offering advice, check yourself, bitch. Love you, but we don't offer advice unless, like, let's go back to circle rules. We don't offer advice unless it's asked for. That is part of why the Sacred Women's Circle is so healing, because we're not there to fix another woman and we're not there to tell them, oh, I know, because chances are their life is very different from yours. And even if you know something, if you tell them, they're probably not even going to hear it because they're on their own healing path. Instead, in Circle, what we do is we trust that every single woman has exactly what they need inside of themselves. So we don't need to tell them what to do. Instead, we listen with our full body. We practice shamanic, compassionate listening, full body listening. And through that mirroring of simply being a listener to let their voice move energy, they usually just come to exactly what they need. We get the exact medicine we need in Circle every time, and no one tells us what to do, right? So this is what you will be doing when you choose like to do an oracle reading for another woman. You are first and foremost there to listen. That is your role. And this is as priestesses, as healers on this planet. Our first and foremost, role is a listener. Maybe always listen more than we talk. And we will leave healing everywhere we go. We will leave healing in our wake. We will heal this world if we can listen more than we talk. And through that process of your focused, soft, feminine presence with another, not the monkey mind, but presence with another, you have a transmission of awakening their own inner oracle, their own intuition. And that is what it is to, honestly, there's levels of psychics, but I live in Sedona. I'm around all kinds of healers and psychics. I have many friends who work as psychics who actually don't think they have any psychic abilities. They're just really good listeners. And I have found that for myself in as a coach. It's very, the greatest, for the most part, people are paying me to listen. And they're getting amazing results, astounding results. And 90% of what I do is listen with my full womb, yoni, heart, mind. So first and foremost, if you are moving into doing an oracle reading for another, you want to ask them, what is it that you want guidance on? What is it that your soul is longing for guidance on? And then you support them, like listen deeply and you support them. What's the kernel there? What's the question there? You support them to ask an appropriate question of the oracle. The oracle questions like to be general so that they're not like, hey, should I go to Mexico and do this like 2-week trip? Or should I go to Greece and actually like get married? That would be great maybe for a pendulum, but for an oracle, I have found the most effective questions are something like, what do I need to know about this situation? Or what wisdom am I missing? And of course, we can get as complex as we like with oracle readings. We can do 2 cards, 3 cards, 5 cards. We can do a Celtic cross. We can do a maiden mother crone reading. We can just do an infinite number of cards. I recommend starting with 1. So you're going to bring another being in front of you that desires, you're going to ask and receive, you're going to, that desires to be witnessed in this way. And you're going to listen. You're going to support them to find a question that's appropriate for the oracle, which I generally defer back to like, what do I need to know today? What do I need to know right now? So we can always go that general. And then you're going to drop in deep with yourself. You're going to take a moment, take a breath. It's okay to be like, all right, I'm going to just take a moment here and close your eyes and root down into the earth, open up to the sky, activate your central channel. Take your time so that the monkey mind can calm and you can clear any blockages in your channel, just become the channel, and then set the intention. I'm here to be a channel for spirit. You can set it verbally, you can set it quietly if that's more appropriate, which it often might be. And then you're going to go through your process. And we all have different processes with the oracle cards. But since we are doing this little tutorial here, I'm going to just share the process that I love, that oracle cards have just helped me so much to cultivate my intuition, activate it in my daily life, just like the walks have. And how I do that is I take out I teach this as well in Body Temple Mystery School. We've talked about this in Body Priestess School, but I'm just going to repeat it, is that you take out the cards, you shuffle them while you're asking the question. So I would ask them to shuffle the cards. If you're doing a remote reading, then you can shuffle the cards as they reflect on the question and breathe. You're going to guide them to do that. You'll shuffle as you think of their question and invite yourself to open to their field. Once you do that, you'll create 3 stacks with your left hand. So I put it down with my left hand, my feminine hand, my intuitive hand. I create 3 stacks and then I look at them and I'm like, oh, which stack goes first? And then I put that stack on top of another stack. Oh, which stack goes next? And once I create, you look at 3 and, oh, that's the one that has to be the top card, or ooh, for some reason that stack has to go on top of that stack. And this might sound silly, and trust me, it's not. There is a method to this madness, like using your left hand to create 3 piles and turning those 3 piles into 1 pile using your intuition, your body, your felt sense. Let your hand do it. For me, so often it's just visually, I just know. So I lay out the cards and I see 3 stacks. They all have the same back. And somehow I'm like, oh, that one is definitely the one that I need to pull. Or, oh, that one really needs to be covered up. So I'm just going to cover that up. And now there's 2 stacks and I thought it was the other one. Now that there's 2 stacks, it's actually, oh no, this one has to go on top. So that's the process that I recommend, at least for starting. And because it allows your intuition to come in at multiple points and it cultivates your intuition for the future because you're trusting yourself multiple times along the journey. And then you pull the card. Of course, the first thing with Oracle cards is you want to see it. Sorry about the blur, but you want to actually see the card and let them see it. So if you are, this would be a great time. If you're even on phone, you just send them a picture. If you're on Facebook, FaceTime, or Zoom, you would let them take their time, like let them take minutes. In fact, it might be a good time to just stop and ask them, what do you see here? And just let them go. Because chances are they see things you don't see that have to do with their thing. And sometimes that's as far as you need to go. So yes, you have an Oracle card book. Do you need to use it? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you give them the card. What does this mean to you? You give them space to reflect. You table it and you let them know, I'm going to send this to you tomorrow. I'm going to send you the card, the deck information tomorrow. Maybe you want to read it over, briefly, and then say, what's really standing out to me about this is XYZ. Or maybe you just know your deck so well, or this is an herbal deck that I know the plants so well that there's so much I can offer without even consulting the book. The book is just one way. So that is for your project of opening your Oracle for another being. And let's just remember the intention behind this is to serve. As priestesses, we are always cultivating the priestess arts as a way of unveiling our radiant true nature and cultivating more joy, like our natural state of joy, creativity, presence, pleasure, connection, communion. And all of that, always, that's what really makes a priestess, is that there's also that extra layer where we are always dedicating it back in service to all, in service to the whole. So can you allow your channel to clear so that you can be of highest service to this person in front of you? And as we close that up, I wanted to read, I just came upon this in the Tao today, but honestly, there are so many places in the Tao. I love this translation by Stephen Mitchell, the Tao Te Ching, where there is, it's just like infinite wisdom for priestesses. But I came across this today. Ancient masters didn't try to educate the people, but kindly taught them to not know. When they think they know the answers, people are difficult to guide. When they know that they don't know, people can find their own way. I bring this up both for you as a practitioner, that your work is actually to not know. You're not supposed to be an expert as an oracle. That's not your job. You're not an information holder. You are a channel. That's your job. And that means the less we know, the less we think we know, the better channel we are. The less we think we know about the solution to that person's problem, the better oracle we will be for them. And on the other hand, too, the relevance of that to an oracle reading is you're supporting them to step into a place of not knowing. You're supporting them to come back into awe of the mystery of who they are. So they can come back into relationship with spirit, which is the doubt, which is undefined, which is mystery, which is, infinite possibility. And when we step into that space, that's when clarity comes through. That's when possibilities open that we could have never imagined. And that's what it is to be an oracle. That's what it is to be an oracle for our own life, where we are in relationship with the mystery and in co-creation with spirit. And that's what it is to be an oracle for another. Not to know the answer, but to not know the answer. That's actually what this is all about. Blessings on you, sacred priestess oracle. Blessed be.